Good morning, good morning, good morning, change makers. You've just crash landed into Kindness Rising, the only morning show where empathy throws elbows and kindness swings back. Today, we're going back in time, pulling the curtain back on invisible disabilities, those chronic cognitive, emotional, and neurological conditions that don't come with a warning label. So often, we treat looking fine as proof that everything is fine. But spoiler alert, it's not. By the end of this show, you won't just see people differently, you'll see humanity differently.
This is Kindness Rising.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to Kindness Rising. I'm Matthew Rouff, and if you're just tuning in, you've stumbled into the one place on the internet where kindness isn't just a nice idea. It's an action sport. Now I've got a question for you. When you picture someone with a disability, what do you see? A wheelchair? Maybe a white cane or some crutches? Well, here's a plot twist for you. It's going to blow your mind. 70% of all disabilities are completely invisible. We're living in a world where 26 million Americans have severe disabilities, but only 1.8 million use wheelchairs. So where's that other 24 million people? They're standing right next to you, in line at the grocery store, sitting in the cubicle next to you at work, maybe even looking at you right in the mirror. We're talking about the folks who hear, but you look so good, when they're really fighting battles you can't see. We're exploring why kindness isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely essential when you realize that most struggles are invisible. So stick around, because we've got stories that'll surprise you, research that'll educate you, and practical ways you can be part of the solution starting today. This is Kindness Rising, and we're about to make the invisible visible.
You look fine.
I'm not.
You don't look sick.
You don't see it.
How can I help?
Thank you. It helps to be seen. Now we can really talk about it.
Welcome, 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 everyone. Lady Drew, I see you're out there. I know there are others there. Don't forget to get involved in the comments, chat with each other, talk about the subject. I hope today is educational. So let's spark some kindness this morning with a truth that's going to change how you see every single person you encounter. We're talking about invisible disabilities, and here's why understanding them is so important. It's absolutely vital to a life of kindness. First, let's get our facts straight, because the numbers are absolutely staggering. According to the Center for Disease Control, 61 million adults in the United States live with a disability. That's 1 in 4 Americans. But here's the kicker. Research shows that 70 to 80% of all disabilities are invisible. We're talking about conditions like chronic pain, fibromyalgia, lupus, diabetes, epilepsy, depression, anxiety, ADHD, autism. I could go on and on and on. They don't come with visible sign. Here's the connection that's really powerful, the connection to kindness. 80% of employees with invisible disabilities choose not to disclose their concerns at work. Why? Because of fear of stigma, discrimination, and judgment. Think about that for a moment. 9 out of 10 people are suffering in silence because they're afraid of how others will react. But when people feel safe to be authentic about their struggles, when they experience understanding instead of judgment, when they receive support instead of skepticism, everything changes. A study from the University of Michigan found that workplaces with high levels of psychological safety and kindness saw 47% increases in productivity among those employees with invisible disabilities. That's not just good for people, that's good for everyone. Deep research on the subject also found that the most common phrase that people with invisible disabilities hear is, "But you look so good." That might sound like a compliment, but imagine hearing that when you're dealing with debilitating fatigue or chronic pain or cognitive fog. It's like saying your suffering doesn't count because I can't see it. But kindness, simple, free, and easy kindness, that can be revolutionary. Research done by Dr. Kristen Neff shows when we approach those invisible struggles with curiosity instead of judgment, we create psychological safety nets. And those aren't just feel-good concepts, they're literally life-changing. People with invisible disabilities who experience consistent kindness and understanding, they show better health outcomes, reduced anxiety, and increased willingness to seek help when they need it. Now let's go back in time a little bit. Michael J. Fox, Marty McFly of Back to the Future. He's done out of this world and incredible work showing how this plays out in real life. I think we all know that he went public with his Parkinson's diagnosis. Things have taken some radical turns for him lately, but he's still out there showing kindness and educating people about his disease, because he didn't just raise awareness about the disease. He fundamentally changed how we think about invisible struggles. He played against his conservative Alex P. Keaton character when he said, "The tremors get attention, but the internal storms devastate." He talked about how the non-motor symptoms of his Parkinson's, the depression, the anxiety, the cognitive changes are actually the most challenging part of the disease, but they're the parts that we don't see and we don't really understand. But what he discovered on his journey, and that research backs up, when we lead with kindness and understanding, when we create spaces for invisible struggles, we don't just help individuals, we transform communities. This isn't just a disability issue, it's a human issue. It's essential that we focus on it and we help those who are suffering in silence to feel empowered to seek help. It's the difference between isolation and community. It's the difference between shame and acceptance. And that, my friends, is why understanding invisible disabilities is absolutely vital to a life filled with kindness.
Dude, did you catch the show Kindness Rising on YouTube?
Man, that Rouff guy is totally vibing with the kindness scene.
Back into the comments. Ladies Rue, you're still out there. Love that you're there. Appreciate it. Holroyd, welcome. I know there are others listening. I see the numbers. Don't forget to get involved in the comments. Get involved. Mike Sullivan, thanks for joining us. Michael J. Fox is a hero and his wife is a good, loyal woman. I agree. Tracy, I forget her last name. Help me out. But they are out there shedding light on not just the physical disability that Michael shows, but the true kindness of his wife, the community around him, and shedding light on the invisible parts of his disability. So thank you so much, all of you, for coming out, listening to Kindness Rising, getting involved in the comments. We love what you do every day, coming to see us here. And now for our kindness spotlight. We shine light on the people, the organizations that are doing extraordinary work in the world, and we've got two of them for you today. First, let's talk about an organization that's been quietly revolutionizing how the world sees disabilities for nearly 30 years. The Invisible Disabilities Association started in 1996 with a simple but powerful mission to encourage, educate, and connect people touched by invisible disabilities. But here's what's surprising. The organization has become the global leader in changing how we see and think about the disabilities we don't see. Leading the charge at Invisible Disabilities Association is Director Jessica Stainbrook. She brings her professional and her personal expertise to this organization. Under her leadership, they've created some remarkable things. The world's first national disability ID card program. It's not just a card, it's a voluntary way for people to discreetly share that they might need a little extra time, some understanding and support without having to explain their entire medical history to strangers. They've partnered with state governments to create the first ever invisible disability designator. They think about that for a moment. We're talking about a simple and dignified way for people to indicate that they might need some accommodations to justify their struggles to every TSA agent, store clerk, or parking enforcement officer that they encounter. IDA's online support community has connected millions of people worldwide who were previously isolated by their invisible conditions. They've created Invisible No More campaigns that have reached over 50 million people with education about invisible disabilities. And here's the part that really gets me. They've documented thousands of stories. This is what we talk about here on Kindness Rising. It's our stories that make a difference. They have found a way for their stories, thousands of people, to say that finding and exposing the invisible disabilities can literally save their lives by realizing that they're not alone. Thank you very much. Now let's move on to that celebrity. I've already talked about him. Let's get back at it again. We're going to shift it to Michael J. Fox. You know him from Back to the Future, from Family Ties, all those iconic roles that defined our childhoods. I know I grew up with him, but here's the surprising thing. Fox has become the most powerful voice for understanding the invisibility aspects of disability. He was just 29 years old when he was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 1991. For over 30 years, he has been getting at it. He held it quiet for the first 7 years that he had it. 7 years of holding in and holding back and not showing exactly what was going on in his life. But when he went public in 1998, he didn't just talk about the visible symptoms. He started educating people about the invisible symptoms, the depression, the anxiety, the sleep disorders, the cognitive changes that people can't see, but that profoundly impacted his life. And now he's got his Michael J. Fox Foundation. Founded it in 2000. He's raised over $1 billion. That's billion with a big B dollars for Parkinson's research. He's consistently used his platform to address something broader, the challenge of invisible disabilities in general. He's spoken about how his diagnosis has made him much more aware of possible invisible disabilities in others, and how he has become much, much less judgmental when he encounters someone who's struggling with something he can't see. Here's something he said. Hopefully, folks will realize that there are handicaps that it cannot be easily seen. That's not just about Parkinson's. It's about fundamentally changing how we see and interact with every person we meet. His research has revealed a lot about the non-motor symptoms of Parkinson's, the invisible ones that are often more disabling than the actual visible tics and movements that come with disease. They found that depression affects up to 50% of people with Parkinson's. Anxiety affects up to 40%, and cognitive changes can begin years before any visible symptom appears. Michael J. Fox is putting his money where his mouth is. He's raising money for research that is coming out about the issue of Parkinson's and about the issue of invisible disabilities. And together they're creating a world where invisible disabilities are understood, supported, and accommodated rather than just questioned, dismissed, and ignored. If you want to know more about these organizations, get out to their website, invisibledisabilities.org, to learn more about the IDA programs. Join their online communities, get involved as a volunteer, and of course, check out michaeljfox.org to see how cutting-edge research is changing our understanding of invisible symptoms across all conditions. These organizations prove that kindness isn't just about being nice. It's about creating systemic change that makes the world more accessible and understanding for everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming out to Kindness Rising this morning and every weekday morning, 7:30 a.m. on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. We're out here spreading messages of kindness with hope, humanity, and heart so that we can get up with positivity every day and make changes in the world. Thank you so much. Join me here. Stick around and check out Mornings in the Lab at 8 a.m. right following with Keith and friends. We're doing some great work to raise awareness and to keep you motivated for your day. Thanks for joining the Mornings in the Lab Network, Kindness Rising, and Mornings in the Lab every weekday starting at 7:30 a.m. Rocking a little bit of synth pop, 80s, Back to the Future in honor of Michael J. Fox today. I actually love this music. I think I'm going to bring more of it. I forgot how much I love bands like The Cure and OMD and those that we grew up with all those John Hughes films in the 80s. Last night I was creating some of this music and having some great memories. I hope it's brought great memories to you too about the good times in the 80s with the synth pop jams. Welcome back to Kindness Rising. Let's get into our Kindness Compass, where we give you practical research-backed ways to navigate kindness in your daily life. Today, we're talking about how to genuinely support people with invisible disabilities. It's kind of hard to say, but it's really important. Trust me, these tips are going to make you a kindness superhero. Let's talk about language. The language we use is so important. Words matter more than you think. The number one thing you can do is stop saying things like, "You don't look sick, but you look so good." I know you mean it as a compliment. It's just surprising when we talk to people who just might look and act a little normal, but they have stuff going on inside. These phrases, while well-intentioned, actually invalidate someone's experience. Instead, try, "I'm glad you felt comfortable sharing that with me. Thank you for trusting me with that information. How can I help? How can I support you?" Replace what's wrong with how can I help. The first question puts the focus on deficiency and problems. We don't want to do that. We want to focus on the small changes that can make a huge difference in people's lives. Now let's talk about the art of not assuming. Things can get really practical here. If you see someone using a disabled parking spot who doesn't look disabled, resist the urge to judge. I know I do it. I go, "What the heck is that person?" And I think for a second, maybe they're one of the 70% of people that have a disability that the disability is invisible. Just maybe. The person might be dealing with chronic pain, fatigue, heart conditions, or a number of other conditions that require closer parking but don't require mobility aids. Here's another level of thinking on this. Think about it for yourself. Do I need this information to be kind? Do I need this information to be helpful? If the answer is no, then your curiosity isn't actually about helping. It's about satisfying your own interest. And that's okay to acknowledge, but it's not okay to burden someone else with. Become an accessibility ally in your workplace, in your community. It doesn't require special training or expertise. It requires awareness and action, which is what we do every day here on Kindness Rising. Small considerations can make a huge difference between someone feeling included or excluded. Last, let's talk about the power of believing people. It's huge, and it's backed by extensive research. When someone tells you they're struggling with something you can't see, your first response should be belief, not skepticism. I'm struggling with something and an itchy nose today. I don't know why that's happening, but okay. You don't need to understand the medical details in order to offer support. You just need to trust that they know themselves better than you. Listen, believe, support. That's the easy way to spread kindness to people who have invisible disabilities. Together as a community, we can make a change in the way that things are approached related to invisible disabilities. Be driven. Thanks for jumping in. I appreciate you. I know you're here every day. We got the old stalwarts, Lady Drew, Adam, Mike, Sullivan. Be driven. Thank you so much for coming out, getting involved in the community. You're leading our community every day, showing up 7:30 a.m. for Kindness Rising, 8 a.m. for Mornings in the Lab, and we appreciate you. Remember, being an ally to people with invisible disabilities isn't about becoming an expert on every condition. It's about being an expert on kindness, respect, and creating space for people to be authentically human without having to justify their existence. This is how we use our kindness compass to navigate toward more understanding in the world. Back to our tunes. Love that. For some reason, I'm just into this 80s synth pop these days right now, and I think I'm going to keep bringing more of it. Let me know if you like it, or if there's a type of music you like. It's one of the parts of the show that I love, is going out there and creating the music and the rhythm for the show, and I want to do it to help you too. So if there's something that you want to listen to get yourself up and going in the morning, let me know. I'll create music that helps you get after it today. Now let's move into our kindness call. You're all my friends. You're those beautiful humans that are making this happen, where we move from thought to actually doing something. We're about action. Thank you so much. Today's kindness challenge is called the Invisible Kindness Challenge. Makes sense given it's the end of the show, right? It's going to push you out of your comfort zone in the best possible way. Here's what I want you to do over the next few days as you think about what we talked about today. It's really going to help. Practice pausing. Weird. Action by inaction, right? Pause. Every time you catch yourself making an assumption about someone based on what you see or what you can't see, I want you to literally pause for 3 seconds and remind yourself that you don't know their full story. It could be someone using a disabled parking space, or when someone seems fine but says things that just don't make sense, that just don't add up. 3 seconds, that's it. Those 3 seconds can change everything in the way you approach this, in the way that we help people with invisible disabilities. And here's your second challenge. I'm giving you 2 today because I know you can handle it. Have one conversation about invisible disabilities with someone in your life. Maybe you're experiencing one yourself. I know you know somebody with one, a family member, a friend, a coworker, or even someone right in your community. Share what you learned today. Ask them if they've ever experienced these witnesses or experienced these situations. Listen to their stories. The goal is not to become an expert, it's to normalize conversations and create more awareness. And I'm going to add a little bit of a third challenge, and this one is a little more personal for us. If you have an invisible disability yourself, I want you to consider sharing it with a person you trust. It can be scary. There's risk involved, but research shows that when we share our authentic experiences, we not only help ourselves feel less isolated, we also educate and create more compassionate communities. And for those that don't have disabilities, visible or invisible, it's your job to create a kind, safe, supportive environment where those people can feel comfortable in sharing their truth with you. This isn't about being perfect or getting everything right. It's about becoming more aware, more compassionate, and more willing to see the full humanity in every person you encounter. This is what I love about our Kindness Rising community. I know you guys are going to get out there and do this. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Mom, I see you there in the comments. Thank you for opening up these conversation about invisibility. When you hear I'm fine, the fine family, the first clue, give them a hug and a smile. You do it, we all do it. I agree. We all, you're saying I do it. I know I do it too, Mom. And you can always see through me when I say I'm fine, but I'm not really. Thank you for being there for me and for listening with compassion and kindness. You're the model of it. I love you. So there it is. Take on that invisibility challenge. Get out there in the community. Talk about it. Help your friends. Help your coworkers. Because when we rise together, kindness doesn't just happen. It transforms everything.
You look fine.
I'm not.
You don't look sick.
You don't see it.
How can I help?
Thank you. It helps to be seen. Now we can really talk about it.
And that's today's show. We tie it up in a bow. It's probably a little crooked, but it's made with love. Let's recap what we've learned about invisible disabilities. We've discovered that 70% of disabilities are playing the ultimate game of hide and seek. They're really good at hiding, but terrible at seeking attention. We learned that 26 million Americans are walking around with invisible superpowers, except their superpowers are things like the ability to function on just 3 hours of sleep or smiling through chronic pain. Not exactly a Marvel movie, but the often heroic. We met incredible folks at the IDA, the Invisible Disabilities Association, and of course Michael J. Fox, who went from a time traveler in a DeLorean, to time traveling through the complex world of Parkinson's advocacy. And his work might be more impressive than escaping the clutches of Biff Tannen. But here's what really gets me more about invisible disabilities. They're like that friend who always says they're fine when they're clearly not fine. Except in this case, society keeps insisting they look fine. It's like the world's most frustrating game of guess what's wrong, except nobody wins and everyone gets frustrated. Remember that invisible disabilities affect millions of people, but invisible kindness can affect even more. So get out there, be kind, listen with your heart, be open to it, share your stories. This has been Kindness Rising, live every weekday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. I'm Matthew Rouff, reminding you that kindness isn't just rising, it's absolutely soaring through time. And you, my beautiful, compassionate, and maybe a little caffeinated audience, are the reason it's flying high. Stay amazing, stay kind, keep making the invisible visible through your actions. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. for Kindness Rising. Until then, Rise up, spread kindness, and remember, the best disabilities are the ones that teach us all how to be more human. And as we always say, stay uncommon and stay kind. We'll see you real soon.